willing, passionate, and eager. I mean, look at CoachBusi, eager to coach and train you and mentor you. In Toastmasters, you never walk alone.
Dear listeners, it's another episode of ToastTalks with CoachBusi. This day, I have with me one of the young ladies who make it all new again and very interesting. Her name is Toastmaster Sandra. Toastmaster Sandra, how are you? And welcome to Toast Talk with CoachBusi. How are you today?
Thank you very much. My name is Sandra Gruba, and I'm doing great. A bit nervous, but I'm great.
Oh, Toastmaster Sandra, this is a conversational space, and everybody here is waiting to hear about you and your story. So sit back, relax, and let's have a good conversation. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell the listeners about yourself. Toastmaster Sandra.
Ooh, interesting. That might take us a whole day. But
The short version will do. The short version will do.
Thank you. Where do I start? I lost my parents at a very young age, and I've been under the beautiful, loving care of different family members up until now, and I'm truly grateful. It was only recently that I realized that there are gaps, communication-wise, personal development, hence I have this deep desire of continuous learning and self-development. In simpler terms, that's all about me.
All right. Now, I have heard a lot of your stories. You have been running all over Toastmaster world right now. I believe you recently became a Toastmaster. When was that? And how did you become a Toastmaster? What happened?
Thank you. Funny story. So we went out on a social outing. It was a group of about 15 people. So we're having a meal, good times. So because of different challenges that one faces growing up, constantly in my head. So I never know how to converse, how to interact, and I prefer keeping to myself. I believe I'm an introvert to an extent. So we're at this social gathering. We're having fun, and people are having a conversation, different kind of conversations. But however, some of the talks or the conversation was more of jokes at my expense. So I then withdrew. I'm already saying, this is why I don't like going out. This is why I prefer being in my own space, because I don't know how to navigate that conversation now. I feel like I'm being attacked. Is it because I'm an orphan? Is it because of this? It's all in my head. So I just remained quiet up until they kept poking and poking and poking. And CoachBusi, you know what happens if you poke a bear. You're bound to best at some point. And it was in a moment where I responded. However, because I'm more on the quiet side, my response got everyone's attention. Oh my goodness, that was the worst. When I came back home, I started thinking that I need to do something about this. Yes, I don't know how to be in social setups. I don't know how to converse in at a neutral ground. I don't know how to carry myself and not take offense of any social conversations. So how best can I do this? How best can I work this? I slept around 3 a.m. on my phone, just Googling Toastmasters. What is it about? Surely I used to do it in high school, but I'm sure as an adult, it's a different spectrum altogether, and I need to be part of it. So I got hold of different individuals on LinkedIn. Anyone who had Toastmasters in their bio, I was in their DMs.
Yo, seriously?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sandra Gruba. I'm interested to know more about Toastmasters. This was around 2, 3 a.m., by the way. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And The amazing thing ever, almost everyone I engaged responded. That's when I got to realize that, you know what, Toastmasters is the exact thing I'm looking for, a safe space to learn how to converse. That's all I was looking for. And to get to network. So they all responded, they linked me to different people, and each and every person that I was connected to made this journey so beautiful. So hence I'm so excited and always everywhere when it comes to Toastmasters, because it is indeed a safe space. And from the day I joined in June, July, late June into July, I've never walked alone. No, I've never walked alone.
Now,
That's my story.
confirm this late June into July is of which year exactly?
This year, 2024.
Wow, 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 wow. I love it. Now, please confirm to the listeners, have
Yes,
you and I had any conversation outside this particular one? Is this not our very first conversation?
it is our first conversation. You're right.
And I know you because we are in the same club. Global Women Extraordinaire. Shout out.
Shout out
But
to
when
Global.
you came, yes, when you came with zeal, you came with gusto, you came with fire, and it was next to impossible to ignore this new member who has come into the club. You've taken your project seriously. We can see the research, we can see the passion and the determination. So when you speak of you having slept at 2 a.m. because you needed an answer for this, I totally believe it. Because you are one of the most resilient, tenacious people that I've had the pleasure of listening to. The first time I heard your icebreaker speech, I was actually working. So I had you in my ear and I had to go and say, I need to see this girl's face. I don't just need to hear her. I need to see her because your story was that impactful.
Oh, thank you.
And one of these days, it will be good for us, for me to start having people give snippets of the speeches that would have made an impact on me because I'm sure they will make an impact on the listeners as well. From the time that you've been here, June, July, you got in because of the deep seated need to know how to navigate this space. Let the listeners and myself know how this is going. Have you started seeing the changes? Have you started feeling more confident? What is going on in these last 60 days since you joined Toastmasters?
Thank you. I love that question. So I joined in, and the first project that I am currently on is presentation mastery. And if I tell you, the beauty of Toastmasters is when you have to write your speech, it can be about anything. So I love telling my story. And to anyone who cares to share my story, they'll tell you that I've never been able to share my story without shedding a tear. I mean, at the age of 3, having to lose a mom to HIV and AIDS, and then you lose an aunt at grade 6, grade 7 to HIV and AIDS again, you get to witness this and this vivid images in your head. Now getting to share that story from a point of celebration because you are in a community or in a group where you're celebrated. I tell you, you're saying that story touched you. A number of people were in my DMs after my icebreaker, just celebrating, so excited. And I know the second presentation that I did, the second speech that I did, the mockingbird, the common
Yeah.
comment there was, you know what, Sandra, we're waiting for part 2, where people are excited to hear my story. They're excited to hear more. So in the few months that I've joined Toastmasters, my journey has been beautiful. I find it therapeutic. I find it healing because I'm sharing my true, authentic story in a safe
Mm,
space. That has never been the case because I feel being loved, being victimized, or being seen as a victim, of which I'm not yet.
mm,
CoachBusi. The reason why I love sharing my stories is because I'm a victor and I want to extend that. So I
Wow.
get to see the people in the on the call on the in our meetings having to
Mhm.
experience that with me. So honestly and truly, I've enjoyed this journey and I look forward to more.
Oh, it gets more and more beautiful. I tell you the truth. You have brought in an aspect which I think is the first that I've heard, and which is the beauty of all these stories. Everybody brings in something that is helping them personally. And the more we get these stories out, the more people will understand the depth of being a Toastmaster, the things that you can get. You said that it has been therapeutic. That is amazing. In a world where there is so much hurt that is happening, and sometimes people are not able to afford the cost of going to a therapist.
Sure.
And taking a therapist, you also have all the dancing to know, are we going to click? Is it going to be worthwhile? But you are finding therapy in being part of a Toastmaster club, Global Women Extraordinaire, which does not limit you to just Global Women Extraordinaire. Because the last time I heard you giving the speech, the Mockingbird, it wasn't in our club, it was in another club. And I was like, oh, that's one of my girls. She's one of mine. And the excitement of just seeing your name on the agenda and giving me a chance to listen to for the second time to your speech, the Mockingbird, and those hot dogs. That hot dog story, the dogs that are hot, I'm not eating those. That gets me every time I hear it. Now that laughter is also therapeutic for me as I see and I hear you. You have a humorous way of crafting your story and giving the speeches. So that therapy is not only for you as you are finding as you're finding a safe space to speak in, it's also therapeutic for the listeners as we get to laugh at the way that you're presenting. So the world becomes a happier place because you
Sure.
and I are Toastmasters in this one world that Dr. Ralph Smedley put together and we are all a part of. Sandra, I really celebrate you. I love your story and I cannot wait to hear more stories as you go forward. Would you allow me to ask something that the listeners probably want to hear as well?
Yes.
What do you do for work? What is your occupation? What's your career? If you don't mind sharing that with us.
I don't mind at all. I'm in customer experience, just trying to venture into business analysis. Yeah.
Okay. And in your career on your chosen path, how are you finding Toastmasters an ace in the hand?
Oh, it's the icing, it's the cherry on top of my sandy.
I love that.
Because I get in my line of work, I get to do presentations, I get to train and coach up to more than 200 people. So you find you get to learn. Just the other day, there's a word because we when you do meetings, you get word of the day, and you get to learn. There's new words. You get to learn how to enunciate, how to pronounce, and your grammar, your timing. I don't know if I can explain it fully how it has how all this has helped. So in my presentation, in my communication, and even now I pay attention to the ums and ahs if I'm talking and interacting with others to say, okay, fine, they are used a gap filler. I shouldn't have done that. On my own, I'm doing evaluations. So I then come out confident because you
Right.
imagine you are if I'm to go on a conversation, I'm like, yeah, but it's like already it will come off as wait a minute, is she lying? Is she true? Is she being truthful? But if you're just flowing and knowing when to pause, the other day in the the meeting that I joined, I learned about the 5 P's when you're doing a presentation, when to pose, when to use which pitch. Do I lower my voice? I bring it up? Do I pose to get people's reaction? So all this,
Mhm.
these are key and fundamental pointers that I get to implement back at work when I'm doing my presentations. Even in social settings, when I'm having a conversation, I then have to, I learned how to present and converse fluently. So it has been helping, and also time management.
Time management. This is a big
Yes.
one. But as you say, that speech that you're talking about, I learned a lot from that as well. And the power of the pause, I was reminded because John C. Maxwell talks about it a lot, that pause. But when I listened to that gentleman's speech as he was giving it, it was like a masterclass. And this is just a club meeting.
Yes.
I know you took notes because I was taking notes as well. When someone says, I'm going to give you 5 P's, and you see the way they're presenting, the way he was standing, the way he was pronouncing his words, and then the order of presentation of those. And when he talked about the pause and he went and showed how to use it, I was like, there's a
Blown.
masterclass. People can pay you for that. Now, don't you think that it's possible for him to actually have a paid masterclass to teach what he taught? Was that not gold?
It was. And funny you said people actually pay. I did, because I love researching. Before I commit or engage to anything, I want to make sure that I've done all necessary research. I researched just to learn public speaking with a professional. With the one that I consulted, it's $100 per hour.
Per
$100
hour.
per. Yeah, yeah.
And how many hours have you clocked in with Toastmasters? And
Not
how
just
many feedback have you been given?
questions with any group. I can join any group and
Any,
learn.
that is so true. You can start in the morning if you have a day off. You can just be looking for one club into the next one, into the next one, and you're getting feedback. If you take up table topics, if you don't have a speech ready, you take up the table topic and you get feedback. You are growing all for $60 for 6 months. That's
Yes.
$10 a month versus $100 for 1 hour. I have no problem with people paying $100 for 1 hour, but I must do that when I'm now at a certain level, when I
Yes.
really want to elevate my game.
Yes.
But the beginning, I must be able to get that kind of value in Toastmasters. And I guarantee you, we get more than just anything that you can begin to imagine.
May I please not yet? There's also coaching and mentoring. Just recently, I was invited by our Toastmasters president, Wadzi, Madam Wadzi Pendeke.
Shout
Oh,
out to Madam President Wadzi.
and as well, AD directly, yes, she invited me for a hot chocolate just to have conversation. And I tell you, I left there inspired. I walked out of that restaurant like, yes, I can. Because she was like,
I
you
am
know
with
what,
the
Sandra,
right
never
people.
write a book. So yeah, you also get to be coached and mentored as well, which I love. I love that about us masters.
Toastmaster Sandra, you and I can go on forever because the passion that is in you, who joined 60 days ago, and the passion that is still burning in me 3 years on is absolutely off the chart. Now, if somebody is thinking, should I, should I become a Toastmaster? If I gave you 1 to 2 minutes now to pitch to that person, knowing very well that you don't get paid anything when that person joins, it is
Mhm.
really out of fire and passion to get people to be better versions of themselves. A lot of people will pitch because they'll get some monetary gain out of it. But you and I, we have set aside time and we do know time is money, and we are passionately engaging about Toastmasters because we know people get better when they become Toastmasters. So I'm going to hand over the virtual mic to you to speak to someone and get them to at least start thinking about what you and I already know to be a reality. Over to you, Toastmaster Sandra.
Thank you very much, Coach Busi. If you are still on the fence whether to join or not to join Toastmasters, I urge you to join Toastmasters. I am a good example of one of those people who would shy away from a conversation. But imagine what that does to you. It already puts you at a negative position when it comes to promotion, to interaction with friends, family members. I know most family, you do family meetings. You need to be heard. You have a beautiful voice, just like a mockingbird. You have a beautiful voice and you need to be heard too. But how best to do that in this chaotic world where there are so many noises out there? How best can you be heard? You have to be able to articulate yourself. You have to be able to master, present your work and present your points in a chronological order or in a format that draws people's attention and want to be interested and keen to listen to you. What better place to do that than Toastmasters, a safe environment with a number of phenomenal people, willing, passionate, and eager. I mean, look at Coach Busi, eager to coach and train you and mentor you. Like one of our outgoing president used to say, in Toastmasters, you never walk alone. Other than mentoring, you get to network with a vast community. We are a global community. You get to network and interact with people from all walks of life, and you get to share your story. You get to learn. You get to do various projects. I cannot explain it all in 2 minutes. All you have to learn. And leadership, you are groomed for leadership. If I tell you I joined in 2 months and already I have a position where I coach and introduce new people to the group in another group. So you get to learn leadership skills, organizational skills, time management, all things that I used to like so greatly or from. So please join Toastmasters. And even better, you have an opportunity to come and have a feel to see, okay, fine, is this what I want to be part of? You get to join our meetings free of charge and get to enjoy this journey with us so that you get to decide, do I want to join? Do I want to fully commit? And then you take it from there. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. For someone who's been with us 2 months, 60 days, girl, you are rocking this. Sandra, you are absolutely rocking this. I am so grateful and absolutely delighted that you were confident enough to come and join me on this virtual podium to be one of the 100 voices that are going to be airing on Toast Talks with Coach Busi as we celebrate the 100 years of Toastmaster impact in this beautiful world. Toastmaster Sandra, for years and years, this will be a testament of where you would have started. Because I know when you continue working the pathways, you are going to be a force. And this is going to be a place where you can say, look at where I began. And even then, I sounded like I had it all together, but look at me now. And for that, I speak it into existence, and I know you. You sound like one of those Toastmasters for life. I don't see you saying, I have arrived. There are a few who do, but I don't see that to be you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach Busi. Thank you.
Dear listeners, here was Sandra. You never know who's coming next. We've had 40 years, we've had 14-year people, we've now had 60-day person on this very series. This is the magic and power of Toastmasters. Until the next guest, over and out, it is Coach Busi and Toastmaster Sandra. Bye!